Hello everyone and welcome to AustCham TV, a monthly program where we bring you updates across AustCham's pillars, business, connections and community. In our business section this episode, we're going to look at the Thailand tourism industry. How are we going? We're halfway through 2026 and what is the outlook for the rest of this year? In connections, we meet the host of this wonderful studio that welcomes us every month. And in our community section, we have a new leader of the CSR committee on the AustCham board. Stay with us. And welcome back. In our business section today, we look at the all-important tourism sector here in Thailand. How is it performing? What are we going to see next? And for that, we welcome Wayne Williams, CFO of Minor Hotels, and of course, a former AustCham President. Wayne, how are you?
Hey, Brendan, good to see you. Great to be here.
Okay, thanks for coming in. Wayne, I feel like we've had this conversation many times over a few years.
More than a few.
And it's always changing. Thailand's always interesting. So I'm looking forward to what you have to say now. So let's jump into it. How are we doing? What is the current performance of the Thailand tourism sector? And can you let us know both through your Minor Hotel eyes and the bigger picture? We know that you have access to information that people like me don't get. So
everybody sees it. Look, I think the first thing is Thailand's an incredibly resilient place. I think we've seen that even in the 20 years I've been with Minor, there's probably something happened every year, and every time we've managed to bounce back pretty quick. And even through COVID, and us and many other businesses lost a lot of money during that period. Right. Business bounced back. And so, whenever we cross these headwinds, we always find a way. Right. That's testament to Thailand as a destination and what people think about it, and all the great things that Thailand has to offer in the tourism business. For us, Q1 was okay. We announced our results a couple of weeks back, and we showed a fairly buoyant Q1. Year on year, our numbers were up, and that's good. But last year we also had a really good Q1 as well. Right. Then we got hit by a whole plethora of things. We hit by earthquake. Everybody hit by earthquake.
Literally hit by an earthquake.
Literally hit by an earthquake. But there was tariff wars that raised concerns. You had the 𝗪𝗃𝗵𝗺𝗹𝗶𝗺 border conflict. So there was a whole raft of geopolitical and other things that really meant that there was a few headwinds for the back end of last year, and we've started to see that again. Clearly, what's happened with the Iran conflict didn't impact us so much in March per se for Q1, but we've started to see that there are a few challenges into Q2, and from colleagues that I have in the industry, they're seeing the same things. Okay. I think there's a general. Not only has costs increased, and everybody knows fuel has increased, so even over Songkran, people were a little bit concerned about whether they had enough fuel to even get back from where they wanted to go. Right. So Songkran was a little bit more suppressed than normal. But flight costs have increased a lot as a result of that. So long-haul flights coming into Thailand were reduced. You've seen Thai Airways have announced those sorts of things as well. And so anybody that was coming long haul from that part was concerned, and there were clearly cancellations. Right. And that has a flow-on impact. Cost of living is really starting to hurt locally. It is.
Yes. And that's been creeping up on us for a while.
Yeah, and we see that across all sectors, and not just Thailand. You see it in many areas, in Australia as well. Interest rates going up. Cost of doing business goes up accordingly. You got a lot of fixed costs that get stuck there. And so, we've seen that people that were planning to come in Q2 were concerned. They were cautious. We saw a lot of people just defer their bookings to Q3 and Q4. But we need to be careful and just, I guess, cautious that they actually don't cancel, that they actually feel confident that they want to come back.
Do you think, and it's always difficult, as you say, you need to be cautious, but do you think people will eventually get sick of, we know their issues, but I'm due a holiday. I'm due to, or business travel, I'm due to go to Thailand, I've been postponing, I'm not letting the forces of around the world dictate to me anymore, I'm going. Do you think that'll come after a while of being held back?
I think the answer is yes, it always does. If you look at the historical patterns, people will still go on vacation, even though it costs a lot more money. Even post-COVID, you know, airline prices went up, fuel prices went up, hotel room costs went up, and people still travelled. You know, there was post-COVID, we had a really big growth period. You know, people had money in their pockets because they hadn't spent it during COVID, and they genuinely were okay to spend a lot more money on airfares and hotel rooms and travel. That started to taper off a little bit last year, but I think people just want to get away. And they will find ways to get away. They may not travel as far and they may not go for as long, but they will still go.
And you mentioned resilience at the beginning, right at the get-go. A question I'm asking a lot of people at the moment, now we're going through the Trump tariffs last year, the closing of the straits this year. Are you finding, both through your work at Minor and the broader community that you speak with, coming out of COVID, which rocked everybody, nobody knew how to really deal with it, and we managed to navigate our way through it. Are you seeing that with the current issues that come up, people are a little more, okay, we know this is tough, but let's just find it. People aren't panicking like they did 5 or 6 years ago. They're being a bit more resilient. They're already agile and ready to pivot as what people need to do 6 years ago. So what are you seeing?
Yeah, look, I think so. I mean, you know, COVID was a real reckoning because we hadn't had something like that for a very long period of time. They just adapted very quickly. You know, businesses adapted, but individuals adapted as well. Even now where, you know, you see, you know, hantavirus and other things come around, people are a lot more relaxed about those things than they were before, and they just navigate their lives around that. Yes, they're not as startled by those things, but that's not to mean that we shouldn't be careful about that.
Correct, yeah. So it's still be cautious, still be mindful, still be on top of everything, but that adaptability that was a necessary skill 6 years ago seems to be just part of the everyday skill.
I think it's inherent in everybody now that, you know, they just need to be wary of those things.
Can we talk about a couple of specific points affecting Thailand tourism?
Sure.
And will it have an impact? What are your thoughts? So the first one is the visa on arrival was 60 days, being brought back to 30 days. How do you think that will affect the tourism sector and, of course, your business in general?
It's always hard to pitch these things because, you know, they happen so regularly in terms of publicised that they're going to do things. There's industry resistance to those things, and invariably they get scaled back or they get implemented and reversed and all of those things. So, you know, just wait and see until it actually happens. You know, we've seen recently the visa change. Will it affect? It will in some markets. Yeah, I mean, most of the tourism market that comes here is less than 30 days anyway. So, but it's clearly going to impact the decision making of some people who were, you know, potentially going to spend a fair bit of time here in Southeast Asia generally, and it may mean that when they make those decisions, Thailand will be for a shorter period than they would have otherwise planned, and they may go somewhere else. I think that's still to be proven whether that will occur or not, but I would say it's probably limited to that market that is more of a long stay market. Now, that long stay market is not the mainstream tourism here. You're talking about, you know, elderly generations. You're talking about, you know, people who are, you know, potentially wanting to spend a bit of time, digital nomads who are looking to incorporate travel, you know, business and leisure together. So yeah, I see some of those markets looking at this a little bit more closely.
And the latest hot item, which has popped up at multiple times over the past few years as a hot item, the proposed tourist visa.
Yeah, I mean, like, I've been here in this job 20 years. I think it's been 19 out of those 20 years we've seen similar things. Again, to be proven. You know, what generally happens when there looks like there's going to be some sort of restriction on inbound tourist numbers as a result of some of these actions, there tends to be a fairly quick industry response to the fact on how it's going to impact business. So we hope cooler heads prevail.
Right.
I know that there's discussion threads about the types of people coming in, and fully understand the security issues related to that. I think everybody endorses that. But you know, you got a lot of short-term, you know, tourist businesses coming in. They're coming in on group tours. You know, these are not the targets for putting in tourist visa restrictions.
Right.
So I think let's make sure that it's targeted to the sorts of activities that they're trying to discourage.
Right. Okay, good. Let's change it up and hopefully be a bit more positive.
Always glass half full. Yeah.
The outlook for the remainder of the year, you mentioned that you're hearing through the market that there are a lot of postponing to Q3, Q4. Big picture, your views on the next 2 quarters and then beyond that, 2027 as well.
Yeah, good question. I mean, we do a lot of this discussion internally, and we talk with our colleagues. A lot of the colleagues that I speak to are seeing similar trends to us. If I look at our bookings this year compared to the same time last year, they're showing up for Thailand. They're showing up in Q3 and they're showing up in Q4.
Right.
Now, some of that could be deferred business, and we're monitoring that closely. But it's up, you know, good double-digit numbers. So we're hopeful that that tells us that there's still a propensity for people to want to continue their travel. And there are certain markets around the world. You know, I was recently in Australia, from my colleagues in Europe, in our businesses, they're seeing the amount of talk about the Iran conflict is decreasing significantly, which means people are getting over the initial shock.
Right.
And they're going back to making plans. Now, they may not travel as far. We may see that there's more regional travel, which hopefully should be a benefit to Thailand. But some of the numbers that we're seeing are positive. To be proven, but they're positive.
Okay, good. And staying positive, finally, it's 𝗪𝘃𝗪𝗏. I like every time we catch up, not on TV shows, but just catching up for a general chat, you're always telling me something that's new at 𝗪𝘃𝗪, whether it's a new hotel chain coming in, new properties opening. There's always something exciting happening at 𝗪𝘃𝗪. What do you got for me today?
Yeah, well, look, there's always something happening. And of course, when you get to a certain size, there's always something in the pipeline. I mean, we've opened this year to date, we've probably opened 10 hotels.
Great.
In some of them in new parts of the world. So we opened a property in Croatia. We opened a property in Slovenia in the last 45 days, which is new for us. We've signed a new project in Egypt. You know, we signed a new project in Zanzibar. So and some of them are in, you know, new places for us.
Right.
So that pipeline is growing. You know, publicly we've said we want to grow our hotel base. We're currently 570 open hotels in 60 countries, which is a far cry from when I joined, when we had 9 hotels in one country.
Right.
That there'll always be those new places. But you know, we've announced some nice projects in the US. We've announced a project in London. So, you know, some of those have got longer time frames to open, but things are still happening. Domestically here, yeah, there's some exciting things happening. You know, we're conscious about what the market conditions are now, but later this week, we're just about to put La Petite Maison from Europe. We'll be at 𝗪𝘆𝘲 for a 3-month period. So we're looking forward to that. We'll officially launch it over the weekend.
Great.
And so there'll be new things coming up in the very near future.
Good.
That I can't announce now, but you'll see them soon enough.
We'll make sure we get that out through the AustCham channels as well for the community to see and promote that.
Great.
What about for the people planning their holidays? What is the most popular destination at the moment? If people want to go where it's hot, not weather hot, but exciting hot, what's for under Minor's eyes, what's the most popular destination at the moment?
Europe is still doing well. You know, there's a little bit more intra-Europe travel now because of what's happening in the Middle East. But Europe is still, Southern Europe is still strong. So right. Italy and Spain still look like they've got good numbers on the board. We've actually started to see a pickup in Australia, which has been good. Australia's been pretty flat for the last 12 months or so. Right. And a lot of that's got to do with the economic conditions there, but interest rates have just gone up again. But having just been there over Songkran, there was good, strong demand from Southeast Asia going into Australia. And Thailand is always solid. As I said, you know, a huge amount of resilience. We would like to think that, you know, that will continue on as well. And so, yeah, look, we've got some fabulous properties in great locations. Right. Yeah, it's finding the right time to get to see them all.
To see them. Yeah. And following on from that, and I think you touched on this a bit earlier with new destinations. If I'm planning next year, the year after, I want unseen Thailand or unseen the world. What are the next hot destinations?
What are the next hot destinations? Well, you know, there are various publications that always put out their hot list. Yeah. Generally speaking, they're in places like, you know, South America and right. and you know, parts of Southeast Asia pop into that. But what we're tending to find is people want familiarity. Yes. They like to go back to places, particularly when there are challenging events happening in the world. It's always good to go back to somewhere that you know, right. because you don't have to learn somewhere new. And we're seeing a lot of nostalgia travel. So people are genuinely going to sporting events that they've had on their bucket list for a long period of time. You know, ticket prices to some of those things are really high, but people are still investing the money to want to go there. They're going back to places where their parents or their grandparents were from. And so that's why places like Europe become popular with many people. And so we see a lot of, you know, travel plans around those kind of activities. So there's not one particular place that's hot. It's actually what people are feeling, right. That's driving their travel plan.
Okay. Yeah. And in terms of the sporting events, we were, of course, discussing earlier about we'll be going to the Gather Round in Adelaide next year to watch the Sydney Swans play.
I think any time we get to see the Sydney Swans play, we'll be up for it, you know.
Good. Wayne, always a pleasure. Really appreciate your insights and coming into the studio. So, Wayne Williams, CFO of Minor Hotels, thanks for stopping in.
Yeah, thanks, Brendan.
And welcome back. In our connection section today, we welcome our host, our real host, the man who brings us into his home every month to allow us to record this AustCham TV episode. David Norcross, Managing Director of Lexicon. David, make yourself at home.
Thanks, mate. I will. I'm pretty comfortable.
You look comfortable. I'm actually just waiting for you to spring up to the top of the cupboard and grab a jar of cookies. You have a very Kung Fu Panda look about you at the moment.
That's what I'm trying to cultivate. In this latest incarnation, I'm going for Kung Fu Panda as the brand persona.
Excellent.
And I think you've probably hosted more in here than I have, though, to be honest, over the last 5 years or so.
It does feel like home for me as well.
Also, Mikasa Sukasa, mate.
And it's good that we've been able to do it over so many years as well, because in terms of AustCham TV, it's a return after maybe 4 years,
it is 4 years, yeah.
Lexicon is returning after 4 years, which is great. So welcome back.
Thanks, mate.
Where you been?
You know, life gets in the way sometimes. Where have you been? I think both of those things are relevant answers.
I did a few detours on the way as well.
So yeah, I guess just a couple of things just happened at the same time. Like, I think you left around the same time that I became a board director of the British Chamber. And
that's right.
Prior to that, I'd been a bit promiscuous with my chamber behavior.
Right.
But I mean, I was in many chambers of commerce at the same time. I think I was in 4 on committees of 3. Right. And then once I was a board director, I thought, well, I really need to focus on figuring out how to be a board director for the next couple of years. So
that makes sense.
I did a 4-year stint as the British Chamber director, and then kind of perfect timing, really, as the term was coming to an end. Mm-hmm. A couple of the board directors from the Australian Chamber, who I'm quite close with, you might know who they are, yes. Reached out and kind of raised the prospect of bringing back AustCham TV, and the timing was perfect. I'd obviously missed AustCham quite a lot as well, so I'm happy to be back in the community. And yeah, timing is good. Obviously, chambers change a lot over time. And right. I think the moment for AustCham right now is really good, with the new board in place, a new direction, and one that aligns really with how we see business in the coming years also.
Oh, good. And the timing is perfect. I know this is only the 2nd episode of the return of AustCham, but already the feedback that we're getting about how great it is to have it back, who is coming up in the next episodes, what are the plans for the rest of the year, signing the odd autograph when I have to walk down the street. You know how it goes.
I'm from Burgundy.
So tell us about your time. It's AustCham TV, but the British Chamber, obviously very close friends and partners of AustCham. Tell us about your experience there.
With the British Chamber? Well, it was a great experience to, I think a lot of what I'm about to say is probably going to be inexperience and ignorance, to be honest. But I think I just started being part of the chamber world. I think you just become the ED of AustCham.
Right. 2017, yeah. Yeah,
around that time, I was getting really active in the chamber world. And I guess timing-wise, soon after that, Andrew McBean became the British Chamber Board Director. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like the worlds that I knew, it seemed like it'd always been there. You as AustCham Director, and then the British Chamber as it was then. Having gone through like a whole cycle now, like I've seen one whole generation, what it's taught me is that the thing is very transient as a concept. Like, mm-hmm. It's very dependent on the people who are part of it. I bored you to death a couple of days ago talking about the ship of Theseus, and I won't do that again, but how basically something with the same name every 10 years is a completely different thing. It's different people, different policies, different members even. So it was a great experience to see how a chamber runs close up like that. I was vice chair for a year as well. And yeah, I think chambers have still a vital role to play in the business community. They just need to be well balanced, I would say. Right. This kind of stuff's really important in order to have that touch point with the members, and I think events fall into that bucket too. Mm-hmm. We want to feel like we're part of a community still. Right. And obviously on top of that, for the big companies, they want to be doing the advocacy, which obviously AmCham does really well. Yeah. Working groups are vital. So I think as long as chambers honor the core of what they're designed to do, then they'll always be around. Yeah,
agree. And we could do a follow-up episode, maybe a special edition on Theseus, of course. That is an interesting story.
Don't fall asleep next time.
But what you say is interesting and relevant. And I guess, and I gave my 2 cents the other day, and it stays the same. My experience with, and still is, with my current role with AustCham, is really the members. While you have different boards, different staff, EDs, etc., the idea that the members still basically run the chamber because they're the bulk. It's similar to let the people run the country kind of thoughts by simply asking what do the members want.
Exactly, yeah.
Delivering for the members. And the members will tell you through surveys, the members will tell you, certainly at networking events, I'll walk up and happy to give feedback. But importantly, members will often tell you just basically through renewing or not renewing their membership.
That's the best indicator of satisfaction.
So as long as, regardless of the chamber, I think if they're always keeping an eye on that, and if members are leaving, well, in our case here, how do we get you back?
Well,
and you asked that question, and we obviously brought you back.
Now, I believe so.
You are, yes.
Happy to be back.
Back on the banner.
Indeed.
Yeah, which is great for all concerned.
Yes.
Let's talk shop. Every corner you turn around, the world is in an AI world, and you, in your industry, really sit in the center of that. How is the marketing industry being affected, turned around, turned upside down, whatever the case is, by AI?
It definitely is all of those things. A lot of the noise is hype, I would say. Like, you're not going to get, like, AI is not going to replace agencies. That's not the way it's going to go. But Chris Cracknell and Ian and Andrew from Grant Thornton, they're always talking about how the future is focus on your core business. Do that really well. So if you're making widgets, make those widgets, invest in R&D, invest in products and customer support and sales and BD. But accounting, marketing, recruitment, skills training, you're not going to be the best at that. So like, let experts do that, and you just make your business the best it can be. And I think what AI is doing is kind of enabling that. There's been a lot of hype. We get to see always kind of what's about to happen in any industry because of the type of inquiries that we get. So obviously pre-COVID, everything was booming. Then during COVID, business didn't really go down. It was more, people were spending more money on websites, less money on events, more money on LinkedIn, less money on networking or expos. And what we're seeing this quarter especially is there's a big return to spending money on content, which is counterintuitive. I'm sure everyone thinks that AI is doing it all now. And there was a panic that AI would be able to take over. But what I think everyone's learned is that you can get 6 out of 10. Fantastic, maybe even 7, but everyone can get that. So if you want to stand out, you really have to have that little bit of extra, and it's just what's the value of that to your business. If you're happy with 6 out of 10, amazing. But if everyone's doing it and you really want to resonate, you need experts. So I think for us and for all professional services firms, including even your own maybe, we're going to kind of coalesce around key buckets. So HR, recruitment, they're probably going to just become a talent section. Communications, marketing, PR, social media. It's probably going to just become communications department. So the key is that you have the relationships with the board level of your clients so that you can really respond to what they need and add that extra value. So you're able to convert strategy into output that drives results for the client. And AI, it can't do that. It can give you a nice 500 words of generic waffle that sounds like everything else, but it can't give you that high-level strategic insight.
And I am hearing that across the board, which is refreshing to hear, that regardless of how smart AI gets, how much smarter, IQ-wise, it's already much smarter than us already, it will never be able to manage those relationships.
Yeah, and it's a good thing. Like, I'm not saying that it's nothing. It's very valuable to our business even. Like, we used to have 50 staff. Now we've got half of that. Because a lot of those junior functions, we don't really need them. We have people just doing research all the time or coming up with basic first draft work. AI is amazing for that. If we have some ideas of a color palette for a logo or a few different motifs or indicators, we can get 100 variations in 10 minutes. And then we can work with those variations and merge them, combine them, and add our flourish to the extra value add at the end. It's amazing in that sense. I think to enter the market now would be a nightmare, to be honest, because I think, as I said, the coalescence is happening. But if you're already established, the future of the marketing industry is very bright. And it's as a strategic partner, not just as the bottom end of a low-level delivery mechanism, because definitely AI can do that. If you're just delivering generic content, then it kills editing and proofreading and all those basic functions, but it allows us to focus way more on actually providing strategic value.
I heard an interesting analogy from someone in a similar business to you, but and with a more fashion sense than me, they likened looking at AI content and content designed by a professional to people in fashion who could look at a Gucci bag and know if it's fake or a real one. And so if you're doing the AI content and people are spotting it and they go, well, that's a fake. And then it comes with that branding then, well, that's obviously AI. That's not you. Where if it's professionally done by agencies like yourself, then...
That's a great topic, actually, because like we see all the time the giveaways. Like, it's not just X, it's Y. It's not just an opportunity, it's a lifestyle choice. That kind of stuff all the time. Like, here's the quiet secret that you never knew about. It has loads of ticks that repeat all the time. So, yeah, for us at least, we spot it easily. I hope everyone else does also.
I think most can, and that's probably a tip for young players. If you think that you're getting away with it by using AI for your own work, you're not.
Yeah, and maybe it doesn't matter to you, but if your positioning is like a quality provider of anything, but your output is not quality, then why should people trust you? You know, if you can't even be bothered to spend 500 baht on someone to proofread it for you or edit it for you, why should they give you 5 million baht for your project?
Yes,
that's the way I see it. Give me 5 million baht.
Good one. Let's move into the studio here. So it's 4 years since we've been here.
It is.
We've come back this year. Refreshed, new setting and scene. Tell us about the design here, why the change and where the design concept came from.
It's pretty comfortable, as you can see, as you can feel to, I hope.
Glad I don't have to sit that way.
Well, in the old setup, I think, the trends changed. I think what we had last time around was the right approach for what we were trying to pull off. It was a new concept. We wanted it to be professional. That was the goal of that. Whereas I think what we've learned is that this should be a casual, it's not somewhat casual. Obviously, you're wearing a suit, we're talking about business, but the vibe should be more like a kind of American late night show where it's comfortable and it's confessional, as opposed to kind of buttoned up, stiff, pumping out AI written sound bites. So the goal is really to create an environment where people feel comfortable and relaxed. And by doing so, they create content that hopefully people enjoy because it's more informative, more relaxed, more conversational, rather than just trying to hit those talking points. And
we did experience that last time with our guests who were a little bit nervous coming in, which is 95% of the population in terms of public speaking. But as soon as we got in here, they had notes ready and what am I going to do? The notes were gone and it was just a free-flowing conversation. So the environment does create that, because the environment before coming in was, I'm nervous. The environment sitting here was, oh, this is great.
Yeah, well, the plants help.
They do,
I think they're real, right, guys? They're not real? Oh, okay. All right,
are they look AI real. Generated?
All right. Okay, I didn't know that. But I do know everything else about the studio. It is obviously the same room as we had before.
I hope you haven't been watering them.
And this background's on modular, so we can move it around depending on the setup for the client. We can still do the green screen stuff as always, but we don't want everything to look the same. Because we also found that a few clients' work was starting to look the same too. And obviously that's not a good thing for them. But also this AI stuff we were talking about earlier, this is an opportunity, because if everyone is doing the kind of same looking, same sounding stuff, it's a real opportunity for people to stand out with physical media. You can't replicate you or me just yet. Good luck. So we want to be able to make sure that every client that comes in has their own brand represented properly within the studio setup. And it is a big growth area for us. Personal branding and video production, physical video production, these are our two biggest growing areas, because they're the things that you can't easily copy or fake. The individual person and the individual person in real life.
And from an AustCham TV point of view, looking at our screen in front of us, it really does match the branding of AustCham. You do feel like this is a studio made for us. Reflecting back on the previous guest as well, we had the good people from 𝗪𝘆𝗲 here in the last episode, and they did touch on the important role that Lexicon played over the past couple of years in designing their new website, interactive virtual website. It's fantastic. Very pleased with it. What was your experience? Both designing the website, which is, I guess, bread and butter for you and the team, but more importantly, delving deeper into the pass itself, 𝗪𝘆𝗲 and the stories up there.
Yeah, well, it was an incredible project to work on. It was a long project, actually, because I think we got the referral through AustCham even 4 years ago. But obviously government projects, they take a little bit longer than civilian projects do. It was a real treat, because the first draft of the content, I wrote it myself even. I really wanted to be involved in this project. We got to visit there multiple times, as you mentioned. We filmed a virtual tour of the whole place, so up into the forests, down into the trails. We really got to unearth some of the stories from the people who were there and capture the historical context, the context of the people. Even the history of the place is quite fascinating, because it was abandoned after that period was over in the 1950s or whatever.
So for 40 years, they discovered the first AustCham directors at the time in the mid-80s, working on a Snowy Mountain River project, discovered the first sleepers up there. And that was, so 40 years it's at dormant, essentially.
Yeah, so it was a great project. Mick, obviously, and the team up there, amazing to work with, so passionate about it as well. So yeah, honestly, it's one of my favorite projects we've ever worked on because it's a passion project and a vital story. This is not a serious video, I know, but it's stories like that have to be told. As important as these stories are that we're telling here today, human beings have the darkness in their nature, right? That's the yin and yang idea. We've all got black and white in our soul. And we're only ever a few steps away from things getting bad. Right. So like you can see when you go to 𝗪𝘆𝗲 Pass, like, oh no, we can't let this happen again.
Yes.
Because a few bad world events, people start to get a bit crazy and you can end up there. So telling those stories again and again forever is essential because, humans can be very inhumane to each other. And 𝗪𝘆𝗲 Pass experience, it's a really weird experience because it's so beautiful and the nature is beautiful.
Tranquil walking through there.
We were there for the sunrise and the ceremony just a few weeks back.
Right.
It's kind of perfect nature at its finest. There's undisturbed mountains and forests and lush greenery and birds singing songs. Right next to it or on it is the worst things humans have done to each other. So it's like the problem's not the earth and nature, it's really us. So we've got to keep ourselves in check by reminding ourselves of what we can be.
Yeah. I as you said, we were up there a few weeks ago for the dawn service on Anzac Day, which is always a moving experience. I fortunately, time-wise, am able to go up there every year. I probably more than half my time here, so over 10 times I've been up there in 20 years. And for me, it's always a timely reminder. We all have our ups and downs, bad days, good days. And every time I go up there, I'm just reminded of it could be worse.
Yeah,
it could be harder. It could be a tougher day. So that also keeps us in check. I like to use it to keep myself in check regarding that. So what did you mentioned going down for the dawn service, because when you go there any other time, it's that tranquil, beautiful place. The dawn service with the bamboo lights, it's another experience again. How did you feel walking down through the cutting at 4 in the morning? Yeah,
it's a surreal experience. I think the team does an amazing job of setting it up, the team from 𝗪𝘆𝗲 Pass. I don't know how to describe it really. It's haunting, it's moving, it's incredible. Some of the speakers that were there were really good too, putting it all in context. Yeah, as you said, you feel a lot of emotions at the same time. You feel pity and gratitude and respect and fear and it's a lot of different emotions, but it's something that you have to experience at least once in your life, I would say, because it is transcendental almost. It's you kind of feel in the earth what happened there, and you feel respect for those people and gratitude, but also in a way you kind of, as you said, like you feel just how lucky you are to have the life that you have. Because if you and I were standing there as Brits and Australians, or 2 Australians, 80 years ago, life would have been very different.
Yes.
So yeah, as you said, you can't ever complain really, because life is awesome.
Yes.
And it could not be. Yeah. So we're grateful to have the lives that we have, and long may they continue.
I agree. Final question, and this is so we're into episode 2. We have many episodes ahead of us over the next couple of years. We mentioned before that it can be a daunting experience, being on TV, being a public speaker. Do you have any advice for the people who, not only today, but future episodes are going to sit in that chair, how to talk, basically how to get the most out of this experience?
I think most of the people know you well, so kind of just talk to you as they would anyway. They can, if they wish to shoot an answer again, they can. We haven't done that today, but you can. You'll get final edit anyway, so just say what you want to say, and if you don't like it, you can change it later.
Right. Good.
But it's just a chat with Brendan. You meet Brendan. That's the environment that we've set up here, which makes it easier. Again, it's much different than the previous version. Right. So it's a comfortable, cozy environment where they can talk about something they're genuinely passionate about. So it's designed exactly for them to talk about their subjective interests. So don't over prepare, I would say. Don't think too much about it.
Yes.
Just handle it as if it was a conversation.
Oh, good.
Just,
I like that. And two key words I got out of that, the genuine. So just be genuine in what you want to say. And then the second part of not over-preparing.
Yep.
No need to come in with a long script and try to remember it. Just come in for a genuine conversation.
Yeah, and as much as you might want to talk about the ship of Theseus, that's probably not the right format for that.
So maybe run a few ideas by me before going into it.
Yeah, and probably keep private jokes out of a public forum as well, but never mind, it's too late now.
Great. David Norcross is the Managing Director of Lexicon, who bring us this wonderful studio every month to shoot AustCham TV. David, always a pleasure. Thanks for stopping by.
You stay classy, Brendan.
And welcome back. In our community section today, we welcome someone who has multiple identities within the AustCham community. He's a partner of BDO, and with that, a silver sponsor of AustCham. He's on the board as a director and the treasurer, and he's here today to talk about our ESG committee as the lead of that. Matthew Cutt, how are you?
Oh, good, mate, and it's great to be back. I remember being in this chair a few years ago under the AustCham TV, so it's great to be rejuvenated back in. I think in my first interview it was under business. Now I'm under community, so I'm hoping for the 3 stars and get connection soon in the near future, mate. So
that has to happen now.
Great to be back. Yeah.
And we need to get a 3-star medallion on your shirt as well.
I think so. The collector's stars for the AustCham TV. Hey, so hope to be as well known as I guess what we call the resident weatherman from AustCham.
That's right. And that'll be your next identity as well. The 3-star,
Cool.
3-star guest.
Cool, mate. Cool.
Matt, as I introduced, you're leading the ESG committee. And it's a bit like one of my favourite singers ever, Prince, who the symbol formerly known as Prince. So our committee is ESG, formerly known as CSR.
Yeah.
Let's start with that. Why have we rebranded or renamed this committee?
And I think maybe just to be clear, that the CSR concept and the initiatives are very much part of the focus. But I guess the idea was to recognise the need of sustainable business practices within the AustCham community. Right. So looking at who we partner with, who does business with us, and who we connect with. So broadening the concept to ESG was merely just a way of recognising the fact that it is important that we have sustainable businesses working with us, as well as what AustCham does to the community through our CSR projects.
Great, and that makes sense.
Yeah.
So looking at our partners, back at the April Sundowners, we handed out those big checks to our partners that we selected. So let's start with, believe we raised over 400,000 baht, around 400,000 baht. Where exactly did those funds go?
Yeah, good question. I was actually chatting to 𝗏𝗏 today as we look at that, and I have the list here. So let me get the list for you here. So we have Hands Across the Water, which we know is one of our long-time partners, as well as Thailand Tigers and all the good things that they do. Phuket has been good to us, obviously on the island there. Bangkok Community Help and Born to Live. So a really diverse group of recipients to the funds that went there last year.
Excellent. And as you mentioned, some of them are our long-term partners.
Yeah.
Importantly, I think our members would like to know, why are these partners selected?
Sure. And it's a very important question, actually. And I recall when I first came on the board, I asked that very question.
You did.
Right? Because
I do remember that.
Yeah. And I guess one of the things is that, annually companies or charities are they have to sort of write in each year with the reasons why their funds will be, go to meaningful causes.
Right.
And there's a due diligence process that happens within the subcommittee,
right.
Making sure it's a registered charity. I guess fundamentally making sure every dollar we give or every Thai baht we give actually goes to something meaningful and doesn't just get wished away on something. So it's really important to us that if we're raising the money and donating it, that it actually goes to where the heart of the issue is, and that's, I guess, fundamental. So in answer to your question, anybody running a charity, running a cause can write in.
Right.
There's a process where they get evaluated. There's a due diligence process, and then we sort of then look at them sort of case by case and allocate the funds in that way.
Great.
Yeah.
I like you just mentioned the word meaningful, and I really like that you brought that up because it's interesting what separates a meaningful CSR initiative, and sometimes they're just done to tick a box. So what are your thoughts on that? What is a meaningful activity?
I mean, it is a good question, right? And I think it boils down to companies or initiatives who have a genuine interest in doing the right thing, right? And I think that comes through in culture, it comes through in behaviours. My personal view is that people just see straight through a tick the box exercise, right? It actually has to come from the heart and mean something. And I think companies and individuals and the like that sort of embrace those concepts, then it just becomes part of their daily life, and it doesn't become, oh, we need to do this to tick a box because the board have mandated we do 2 things each year type thing. So that's very much my philosophy, and I think it's the AustCham philosophy as well, that we're not doing this just to tick a box, right? We're doing it because it means something to us.
And what are we doing? So we're progressing into 2026. What are the AustCham plans for raising funds this year?
I mean, one of the things that a lot of people don't realise is a portion of every ticket at Sundowners goes to our CSR projects, right? So anybody turning up at our events, you are contributing to our CSR funds. Our money that goes to the events, it's not just going for that event. We're putting a set aside for CSR, right? So that's fundamental to everything we do, that it's embedded in all activities. We've been very fortunate that Mike and Phoenix have looked after us in terms of golf events. They're real specialists at putting on these events.
Mike Moore has been a phenomenal contributor over the past couple of years with those golf events.
Amazing, really, and the way he professionally runs them with the auctions and that. So that's a really key thing that happens each year, and depending on timing, how many of those events there are, so there's that.
I'll just jump in and give Mike a quick plug for AustCham polo shirts at Matt's wearing, a product of Phoenix, and they're wonderful materials.
They certainly are, mate. They certainly are. I guess one of the other important things we're doing this year is recognising one of our sponsors, Kingsgate, who I guess operate in an industry that typically might be seen as something that mining generally is not always seen as a sustainable business practice, right? But Kingsgate, through the way at which they operate here and obviously in Australia, they operate a very sustainable business practice, which is a testimony to how they're looking at their mine in the community. So one of the partnerships that we're going to do this year is we're going to go out and see and meet some of the villages around the mine.
Up at 𝗔𝗊𝗃?
Yeah, up at 𝗔𝗊𝗃,
Oh, that sounds fascinating.
And we intend to take some things for the children. And so that's one that, we welcome volunteers to come on that day, right? The first thing, obviously, people can come and they can have a look at how a world-class mine operates in Southeast Asia, and then they get the opportunity to give something back to the community through that day as well.
The 𝗔𝗊𝗃, like a lot of provinces in Thailand, have some unseen Thailand places to visit. We often go to your popular spots, but I think people will find there's an option to go up there, do the activity, and see some tourist sites unique to 𝗔𝗃. So count me in for that
so
one.
We're really looking forward to that day. And then something that's very, very early days, boiling, I think, Brendan, you're aware that we're looking to regenerate the Run for a Reason event, which was a very special event 2 years ago,
Right.
with one of our significant charity partners, because it's such an inclusive event, and that's what really resonates with me, right? It's not just a run, it was the way it was done and things. So early days, watch this space, but we're really hoping we can get the race going and get the run back.
That would be great. I know BDO, you had 30 or 40 of your team there?
50
50,
there,
wow.
actually.
We had a dozen or more of our ASW staff there as well.
Yeah.
So
the wife still calls it the marathon, even though she walked the 3Ks.
well, that's it as well.
It.
It's inclusive, isn't
exactly,
it?
So
you could do 3Ks, you could do the 9K.
So it was a brilliant event, and hopefully we can get that going again.
That
And I guess the other thing is what I'd love to do, and we want to try and get the subcommittee going, is look at some ESG practices and how we maybe give back some best practice. You know, we have some fantastic supporters of AustCham, either as sponsors or our partners such as Minor and 𝗪𝘆 and Asset World, Anchor, etc. And try and look at how their sustainable practices, we can maybe educate some of our other partners as to things that they can do. So I would really love to get some of our larger corporates showing best practice principles around ESG and what that means, and how we create a sustainable society within the AustCham community.
So that's interesting. And the companies you've mentioned, leading companies certainly within our community, just give us some more insights into that. How are companies like that really evolving their ESG efforts into their larger core business strategy and even employer branding?
Yeah, and I think it's really interesting because people sort of think, you know, sustainable practices are new, right? But you look at successful businesses. I remember listening to 𝗵𝘆𝗲 from Minor talk, right? And he said, well, you know, a sustainable business is profitable, right? Because and to be profitable, generally you have to have good relationships with your customers, with your suppliers. You have to have a highly engaged workforce. You know, you have to be transparent and fair, those types of things, right? So those types of business practices are what really we want to see within our community and the AustCham community. And therefore, you know, having some of those larger groups come and educate, I think can be really powerful, especially to the SMEs.
Yes. They would really appreciate those insights.
So that's hopefully what we're trying to do by just broadening the concept to look at ESG and governance and, you know, what we can do for the community as well.
That sounds like a good plan. And I know our members, as you mentioned, the SME members we have would really appreciate being able to tap in to the practices of those larger successful companies.
So really, I mean, thank you for bringing me on early, because, you know, I am looking for people who want to get involved in either the CSR projects or as corporate sponsorship, those types of things. And this is no better plug, right? Being on the AustCham TV with the weatherman, right?
So if you are interested, to the AustCham community, if you are interested in sponsoring, great, supporting, getting involved in any way, reach out to Matt. He can be easily found, of course, at AustCham events, at Sundowners and other events, or at BDO, of course. That's where you spend most of your time.
Awesome.
Matt, I do have one other point, and it's not really AustCham related, but I was so glad when I heard that you took over this committee, because I've always seen you as somebody who is really passionate about it. And I've seen you do multiple activities either through AustCham or outside AustCham since I've known you for many years now. And you've got one coming up. Is it August or September? You're running the Sydney Marathon?
Sydney Marathon,
Can you tell us a bit about that? It's not specific for AustCham, but you are doing it for a good cause as well.
So maybe for those who don't know, our family has been impacted over the years with the dementia illness. And my mother actually won a King's Award in England for a charity she runs. But this event being in Sydney, Australia, I'm representing Dementia Australia. So hoping to raise some funds and obviously it would be brilliant to give something back to the country that, you know, I spent so much time in and loved while I was in Australia. So
great, and fantastic to hear that. If you would like to support, you can jump on either Matt's Facebook or LinkedIn page.
Yeah, thank you.
To find, he's posted there in the link to go in and support that.
Awesome.
Running a marathon to support such a great cause. It really, like I said, it shows why you're the right person to be running this committee.
Thank you very much, mate. Cool.
Matt, thanks for coming in.
Yeah.
Always a pleasure. And to the community, to Matt, make sure you reach out and support Matt over the next year and beyond that in our ESG efforts.
Yeah, okay, awesome. Thank you, Brendan.
Thanks, Matt.
Cheers, mate.
Okay. And that's our show for today. Thanks for watching, and remember, home is where the community is.